This is the Superest Show Ever, episode 1971, because that's the order that we do them in. Here we are. Nick was lobotomized by my cannabis tea, so he had to go lay down, but he is listening ardently with a smile on his face. So when we left last time, I wanted you guys we wanted to make the distinction between religion and spirituality and the origins of the Oklevueha Native American Church with Mooney, who, if you guys could get him on, I think me and the other guys would have a blast interviewing him. I know I would.
Yes.
Because I can already tell that he thinks like I do with the law. It's like, it's just words. You just have to figure it out, morally. But the thing that I was drawn to with Mooney's church was the fact that it is opening up a practice to non-indigenous people and being more unifying from the way I was looking at it, which is like, yeah, man, I mean, I know I got some Native American in me. I'm mostly Irish, but I want to know about that half of me or that whatever percentage of me, it calls to me. So it was wonderful to know that that's there for people like me. Um, and now I've been through a San Pedro ceremony with Megan, and I know that when I went through that ceremony, it was life changing. So whenever you were talking about your first ceremonies of peyote, I know what you mean. It's There is certainly a difference because sure, I used a lot of psilocybin, daily. I microdose and then just for recreational. But I also like whenever it's time to treat it as a sacred medicine. What? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, Dave. But I know that like when I use psilocybin on a daily basis or recreationally, it's one experience. But then when I really go into a shamanic experience where my house is lit with incense, there's candles, there's sacred music playing, and I take it that way, it's a totally different experience. And it's with the intention of getting answers or getting healing or just, union with the divine for me. So I know the distinction and the importance of ceremony and then just microdosing. So if you guys could, I've never been to a peyote or ayahuasca ceremony yet, but what is that like with if we when we come out to see you guys and meet you guys, what will it be like? Walk us through that because we might be scared.
Now,
Go
you
ahead.
want to go ahead? I think Tiffany would be a great advocate to begin us. Yeah, share with us of how we would open that door there.
Yeah, thank you. Um, what comes to me first off is that it's a full yes. So before ceremony even begins, you're already in ceremony. So say you're invited to a ceremony, a teepee ceremony with medicine. You've never done it before. And you're really feeling like, oh my gosh, this is my calling. I really feel like this is my time. I need to experience this. So that's to me when I feel like it's an answer to your prayer. And when you feel like that excitement and you know that this is a yes, and what's the intention behind your prayer? So everybody has something different that they're needing to work through. And so, it's for me, it's very important through any ceremony, if it's a sweat lodge ceremony, a sundance ceremony, a teepee, any ceremony, is that we know what our intention is and that we are coming with a full yes and devotion to whatever is going to present itself, because it's the unknown. We have no idea what's going to happen, but we have to have trust and who we're with and in this medicine. And so I think it's important that we deepen our own practice within ourselves and prepare ourselves for the ceremony, and that you have somebody that you work with that can explain to you, how do you do that? How do you prepare yourself for the ceremony? And it could be wearing, we wear shawls. I have my shawl on right now. I'm wearing this beautiful necklace that I was gifted in a ceremony by the Huichols. So it's a very sacred piece that was made for our protection, and it symbolizes the medicine. So I adorn myself with this sacred jewelry and to honor the tribes. So like Adam was mentioning the origin of the medicine. So the medicine that we work with is from the Huichol tribe. And so that's why I also call in their spirit and thank them. So I'm already in ceremony. It's like it could happen maybe months in advance. I could get a call, or I'm going to be leading a ceremony and I'm already praying for everybody. I'm already in that space. And so all of these amazing things might happen to me. I'm going to get calls. I'm opening up the veil pretty much. And so I connect also with the beings on the other side that are working with us here. So it's the unseen world. And so preparing for ceremony, it depends on, what type of ceremony it is, but it's all done through prayer and listening to the spirits. So when we listen to the spirits, which are our guides that you work with, it could be the spirits of the land. Wherever you are, you're honoring the land where you're at. And so when we learn how to commune with the unseen world and we trust in them, because they're higher vibrational energies. So I work with the higher vibrational energies, and so I trust what the messages that are coming through. And so they literally lead the ceremony. They tell you how everything is to be conducted. So when we put up a teepee, the way that the teepee is put up is in prayer, and everyone works together, and the door faces the east, and the back of the teepee faces the west. So it's done through the way of the earth, to the planets, the stars, in alignment, and the way that the fire is set. So everything is honored in alignment with the sun and the moon. And there's a lot. I mean, there's so much that goes into doing a ceremony, but this is pretty much how it's performed. Is really paying attention and paying attention to the energies in the teepee, and every aspect of the ceremony is blessed. The land is blessed. The way that we clean inside, we work with the directions and clockwise, and so that's the way that we work in harmony and balance with earth, with the elements. And so when everyone comes into the teepee, they can feel the prayers, they can feel this container that is so safe and protected. And you don't even realize what it is, because it's just the energy is, we're honoring the elements, we're honoring our ancestors. And so we're opening up a portal really to the other side, welcoming them. And when we have medicine with us, if that's asked, the spirit of the medicine will tell us if it's needed or not. It's not always, it just depends. But if we do work with the medicine, we are very reverent, and we commune with the medicine, and we listen to the spirit of the medicine. So really, we don't run the ceremony. It's really knowing how to listen and pay attention to all of the energies that are in there, and the ancestors, and it could be other beings from the other side. It could be grandparents, grandmothers, mothers, children, whoever wants to come. We welcome all of those that want to help in the ceremony. And when people come, they're bringing all of their ancestors. And so we have so many helpers that are with us. It's incredible. It's like, just, I mean, there's people that actually, I don't have this gift, but there's people that can actually see the spirits, and they're like, oh my gosh, you guys, there's so many beings in here, and beautiful grandmothers, and they'll see, chiefs in there, and we welcome everyone. And so it's just, we're creating this sacred container, and to humble ourselves, to pray and to ask for those things that we're needing, because we need help. And so we're there to ask for those things that we need help with, and to humble ourselves, and to really connect in a deep way. So that's, ceremony, um, all types of different ceremonies. It's basically, comes down to that, is to, we're asking for help of the things that we need in our lives, and how do we prepare ourselves to ask for that help so that we can receive the blessings, and get out of our own way, so that we can be a vessel of good, be a vessel of light, so that we become a conduit, if that makes any sense to you guys. um, but in the ceremony, in the teepee ceremony and the sweat lodge ceremonies, and many of the other ceremonies, we basically work with the four elements. All the ceremonies work with the four elements. Not all of them work with the peyote, with medicine, but when we do work with peyote, it's, a deeper experience, because
Is
now the medicine.
is peyote what you would recommend for somebody who's never had a sacred ceremony? Is that what you would recommend them coming into that world with peyote? I started with San Pedro. I felt like that was the more subtler of the of this plant medicine. But is peyote what you would recommend, say, for somebody in Dave and Sabrina's situation? Dave's going through a transition in his life of epic proportions, and we know what
Yeah.
that can do to the psyche. And Sabrina's just crazy. But is peyote a good entryway? Like,
Well, for me, that's what I work with. But if someone doesn't resonate with peyote and are feeling like they want to maybe try another type of medicine, that's not my way. So they wouldn't work with me. So if you have to feel like resonate with it and know, like, yes, this is something that I really feel deeply. I've been thinking about this. It's crossed my path many times. That means I'm supposed to connect with that person. I feel like it's a divine appointment. So
so
Creator puts
so
people in our lives that are meant to work with.
and I hate to interrupt you. So as a facilitator of peyote, what type of people have you noticed are more drawn to peyote? Is it people with substance abuse issues or childhood trauma or anxiety, or just what type of people are typically drawn towards peyote rather than other plants?
Yeah, I mean, like what you just mentioned, people that have suffered trauma in their lives, people that have illnesses, physical illnesses, that are just wanting an awakening, that are just needing a deeper connection, and they just, feel like that's something that it's spoken to them. Um, so, and there's just different, you know, for me, it was a physical, so, and then it became, a deeper practice for me, because I realized, like, this medicine is really to heal our physical bodies, but then also emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So it works in all of those, different aspects. But I just feel it's the particular person, what they're experiencing in their life, and what, they're feeling called to work with plant medicine, but particularly peyote. It could be the origin. I mean, my roots are based in Mexico, so the medicine for me is part of my DNA. So if I was South American, that would resonate more with me, because actually the plant medicine, it's designed for your chemistry. So, so that in that way, that's why I work so well with it, because those are my ancestors.
Really? So I prefer psilocybin like a lot. So that has something to do with my cultural roots. Wouldn't you say?
Hmm.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, the origin of where you're from. And so because it goes back into your lineage. It could be the region that you're from. So it's
I
part of
just
the
played a
DNA.
lot of Super Mario Brothers when I was a kid. So so with that, now, from my understanding, peyote is a cactus. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
And
not.
whenever somebody goes to take this medicine, how is it administered? In a tea or a capsule or?
Yeah, it's made. It depends. I mean, you can either prepare it fresh, or if you don't have that accessible, it's dried, and it's dried in prayer, and and the way that it's prepared, is a very holy way. There's only certain people that do this. I mean, Adam can talk more about that part of it. Um, but we make it into a tea, and also a powder, and then you can make it into like a little ball. But each person that is we administer the medicine to it, we get the answer through the our guides that tell us how much to give that person. So we don't just say, here, drink this whole cup. It's a very small amount. So it's a gradual, and it's a very gentle medicine for me. It's very subtle, and it's like a truth serum. So it
Uh-oh.
really, yeah. So it's more inner, it's more inward. Yeah, it more works inside, I guess, the physical body. And so, like different medicines, you kind of are out there, and a different, you know, like ayahuasca, it's very much an outer experience. But with peyote, it's a more inner. And some people purge. It just depends, if there's any type of, whatever your emotional things that you're going through, or energetically, if you need to purge, release, and get well. And it really feels good to do it, just to let go of all those things you're holding on to that don't serve you.
That sounds like it wouldn't be such a great time, but
Well, it's part of the process,
yeah.
because the thing is with the peyote is that it's bitter. So anything that's a bitter, it stimulates the stomach. And so it's gonna, help just release anything that's kind of settling in there. So we don't advise to like eat a burrito before a ceremony.
That's what I was going to ask you for all of us. Is there like a dietary regimen that we should probably adhere to in preparation
I mean, 'cause we're
to
big
take that?
Mexican food fans. I love Mexican food.
So is there any like to ease, because I know it can be rough, but is there anything
Yeah.
that you would recommend us like how to prepare our bodies leading up to a ceremony?
Yes, I mean, I think at least a week before you would just eat, light, not a lot of spicy foods. Just really try to get your body in the best health, and hydrate, and lots of vegetables. And I don't eat a lot of meat during that time. So, you can even fast if that feels like something that is being called to you. It just depends on really what you want to experience, how deep you want to go with it. But we usually eat like a light soup before we go into ceremony. But yeah, we just kind of have a really like plant-based diet. And it depends, if you want to eat meat or not. But we suggest, yeah, just kind of staying away from spicy foods, and any like oils, like essential oils and things, like to keep your body really clean and pure as you can.
Dave, Sabrina, did you guys have any questions about like anything on your? Because I've been through a ceremony before, but you guys haven't. So, do you got any questions?
Yeah. And I mean, as a witch, I've done my own private rituals. So starvation was actually part of my little ritual for Naked and Afraid preparation. It sounds like it's going to be a blast.
Dave, you got any questions or any concerns about your
Um,
impending doom?
it sounds like I'd be leaning towards that one. But I do want like a higher spirituality type thing. Like I've been looking for signs and nothing's really popping out to me. And I've always felt like I was meant for more, like a higher level. And I don't know, I'm really struggling with learning stuff and deal with my childhood trauma and all that good, as Daniel would say. But I don't know what the other ones do, so I don't know which direction to go.
Hmm.
No.
Well,
Whichever one calls to you, but it's like it's and well, yeah, I think all of it. Well, Sabrina hasn't been through a ceremony, but she's done similar things. We're it's funny to look at Dave because he's just walking into this world, and I keep telling him, I go, it gets weirder, Dave. Yeah, it's it gets way weirder, but uh, we're we're running 3 hours, and of course we do want to talk about. There's so many different ways we could take this, so we're probably going to have you guys back on for sure. Uh, so we all know the importance of this medicine, and I know my life. I would be dead if it wasn't for it. I know that and Sabrina knows that too. That I would be dead if it was not for this medicine and the way that it was presented to me. And so, me being having superhero syndrome and being empathic, I see the need for it in the world, you know, right now, specifically right now. Um, and so, I share your passion. And what we're doing with CanaSense is very much parallel to what you guys have been doing, which is we just want to help people not suffer anymore. And why does the government have to have anything to do with this anyway? Like this was all figured out, before 1776. But of course, you guys have been doing this above board, and all the linky poos will be in boxes somewhere for the listeners. But you guys have been doing this divine work. I mean, it really is divine work to dedicate your life to putting your neck on the line, even though you're not doing anything wrong, to create an outlet for this medicine to get to people who need it is divine service. I mean, it is the highest calling that you can have. And to me, it's just like uh, lawfully and legally, you guys should never have been disturbed by our benevolent caretakers. However, unfortunately, that's not the case, which is how we connected. Is you guys did come underneath the battering ram of the state of Arizona, I believe, and of course, you can be as discreet as you need to be because this is still ongoing. So you guys, you guys were raped, man, by the state. That's just the only way to put it. So before we really get into that, and Adam, you can kind of lead us into this story. I have read your documentation and papers, and Adam, you have more paperwork for somebody to do what you do than anybody has thought to go get paperwork for. You have asked for permission when no request for permission was required just to cross your T's and dot your I's. You know, I've looked through your stuff. So if you could, tell us about what doing this divine work, what the nature of your home life was and your business life, because you had a business built, you had a church built, your ministry was doing this divine service. You're going about your ministry in transporting medicine, I believe, and then the state intervened. So if you could kind of give us a little bit of backstory on what your documents are, your licenses are, all that good stuff to transport, cultivate, take care of this medicine, and tell us what happened leading up to Groundhog's Day of, your life being turned upside down.
Yes. Yeah, we'll have to make it brief because, again, yeah, this could take hours to go into the story of it. So, as you have mentioned, and earlier in the conversation, my life building up, leading up to this time, working over the years my mission was to also unite the government and people. It was not in any opposition to hide. It was like, now's the time. We were told now's the time to be more transparent and translucent in our work, in deliverance of these sacraments. And if we did it through the corridors, or through the pen and paper, through the registration, like I took the time over the years and registering with the IRS took 9 months to do that. In that story, what happened during that time, I got my first, what do they call it, audit, or they come and check you out, and then now they're saying I owe back taxes. Boom. So I spent 9 months going back and forth. I get the second audit coming in. Now you're in trouble for this. You can face penalties. So all these tactics coming up in just that part of filing a church under. I filed the church under the same as a Catholic Christian doctrine with our church, ONAC of Ixal. And so always being talking directly on the phone with them. After 9 months, the heads of the IRS, I have the documentations and papers here, said,
I know you
okay.
do.
She said, Merry Christmas. I think it was around Christmas. Merry Christmas. I've never done this before. Stamp. Boom. If you get this in 15 minutes before the office closes for the holidays, I am going to grant you permission to register a Native American church with under the same, like, I've never heard of it. People are like, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing what I'm been told to do. Like, this is how I see it. Boom. Done deal. So we filed. They even came, and so the lower branches of the IRS still came after me, still, for years after that, filing. Well, I kept going. I knew what I was doing was right. I had the permission to do that. I did the same with the distribution. We have in Texas, there is a peyote distribution. We did the same thing without going into details there. Getting the appropriate documents, going through. See, now the process, my duties as a minister, but also as a cultivation, caregiver, and custodian.
Mhm.
And so that's my duty, not only as that minister to administer it, but to cultivate and preserve and protect for the future generations. So I was working in direct um, alignment in Texas with our distribution.
So just so we're clear, Adam,
Yes.
all of that stuff you just said falls under free expression of worship, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Continue,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because yes, exactly. So,
Because I'm a simple man. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, absolutely. For the listeners, I mean, and yes. So we did that. And then, so in paperwork, when you talk about the transport, there's very specific from the distributors to our church, written papers, receipts, granted, that is tracked with the DPS. And so it's filed again with the DEA, or, if the DA does the research and whatnot, so they can see it. Along with that, I was in direct accordance with the local forestry, the feds here, with the state, with the police. They got to know me. We have documentation when we needed to run our ceremonies, that we're going to run a POD, Native American Church ceremony on this date. Sometimes they would say, yeah, you don't have to fill out the forms. And other times we say, okay, let's fill out the forms on this date. We are doing the ceremony. Dispatch would call out National Forest, Federal Rangers. These guys are in sacred prayer, and they would all, protect us, and we would notify. We were never hiding the fact that like they had to do 200 years ago. So,
Wow. So this is new information. I maybe overthought that, but
yeah,
I didn't know that previously. That's
right.
interesting. So every time you guys did a ceremony, local law enforcement were well aware and
Yeah,
even communicated with one another that it was
uh,
happening. Okay.
oh yeah, they
Wow.
knew I was a leader. They know I'm a ceremonialist. Um, I sat down with the heads. Probably came in from Washington D.C. with them in the National Forest, because not only is the POD for sacrament and the protections and preservation of that, it's also interwoven. The Native American Church is for preservation of the land rights, land usage, human rights, and it goes dive deeper. So we were in direct relationship. We're the archaeologists. We're the same as they are, the forestry people. That's the work we do. I do specifically as a minister and as a church. That's another part of my work: restoration of sacred sites and lands, so that we can get designated areas in collaboration with the federal governments and state to work together, so we can get these designated places of prayers of worship, just like the churches have theirs that they exchanged for with the national forest and the federal government to have their churches built on to the forestry lands, which is now a place of worship right down the street here. So we were doing the same mission, working in archaeological fields, working in the medicine fields, and I have papers with that that shows we were
I know that you do.
in awesome, accordance for 6 years, and now it's been almost 12 years, I think, but that was way back. So we worked in doing that, and then we also have very specific declarations of religious beliefs that were filed with the local county. So our objective is to work with the state, the local county, and governments.
Okay, so make sure I got this straight, Adam. Not only were you not doing some shady under the table stuff, you were deliberately outright going to every institution of quote authority that you could to notify them of exactly what you were going to do, register it any way you needed to, and incorporate them in what you were doing, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it was not only that you weren't hiding, but you were literally knocking on everybody's door to go,
Yeah.
hey, wanna come do it? And how many years is this?
Yeah. This is since 2011, I've been doing that and
Okay.
filing not only on a national level and traveling around the country implementing this, but on an international level, working with Homeland Security and negotiating with Homeland Security and TSA and all those organizations before TSA even became TSA.
Yeah.
We were already staging on behalf of the grandmothers and grandfathers, the elders that told us that this time was coming, which they called the prophecies that I would
We're
become.
gonna get to that.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to that. You put a dog ear on that one.
Yeah.
Continue.
So and the documents again are sitting here to my left,
I
right
know they
here.
are.
Those are my sacred bundle in this material governing bodies, and then I have the ministers and spiritual governing bodies in the spiritual worlds.
All right, hang on. Let me make sure because I got a vivid imagination. You're bopping around out there out west. You're basically like, this is medicine and it's morally correct, and I'm going to get it to as many people as I can. So let me do it in the awesomest way possible and go file all the paperwork just to let everybody know. Dude, normally I don't like dropping F-bombs and things on the podcast. You're a bad motherfucker, dude. I'm sorry. You're a
Yeah.
bad motherfucker.
Actually,
Okay.
to this day, I don't know Native Americans. I don't know people, and even ONAC as a whole that has gone the distance that I have. And I'm saying this because I've talked to them, and they say the same thing, nationally and internationally interwoven for this specific time and place that we're in now, to do that and be transparent, and even to the point of the authorities through this prosecution that I've gone through, myself and Tiffany, to say we were still here for your children. We're still here for your grandchildren, and we will be here for that. And what we're putting forth here is the preservation and protection for the future generations, red, yellow, white, and black, whatever color and nation. And under the First Amendment, religious rights. So there is a system that was for each. I've sat a long time, many years, with the different tribes and nations from North, South, Central America. And we had to go through initiations to understand, ask the medicine, ask the peyote, ask the ayahuasca, ask the mushroom, ask these medicines, who they are, what they want. May we be the voice of the medicine to help protect and preserve and cultivate for the future generations. So we had to get instructions, the transcriptions, to be able to collaborate and work. The high authorities of these nations, the shamans, the taitas, they call them, the maricamis from Mexico, the roadmen from up here, the instructions how we can interweave to work with government and people united. And so that has been the mission, and we can go further in the submission, the suggestions of these declarations. We also had a declaration of church location, which was very vital, of notifying, hey, we're a church, we're a religion. Now a lot of people are going to be like, man, we don't do that. That you're going to be like, you get scrambled in this whole thing. But with all these papers and all these filings in order, same as our spiritual practices, disciplines, and principles in order. We put the papers, the pen and paper together to put those in order, the filing of those so that it's clear all the way to a sign. I have a very cool sign that I could show you all later, that explains what we are. It was out in front of my house, and in the back of the house by the farm, because we had an industrial hemp farm, and I was cultivating for 2 patients for cannabis, and then the preservation and preserving caregiver for the medicine. So these signs were also present there on the premises, and those signs you'll understand more once I show you the transcript and writing what we put in those. So it was always stating, hey, this is who we are. It wasn't like we were on Groundhog's Day. I wasn't under the ground looking for my shadow, really.
Right, right. And
or shadow.
and Adam, we're coming up at the end of the hour, unfortunately, so we're going to have to bookmark it and pick up the next time because we have to do that. But give me just a second, because
Yeah.
all of the paperwork. And normally, I am not an advocate for messing with the government at all. If you don't send paperwork their way, they don't send it your way. But
Right.
that's me. But I understand exactly what you were doing, and we've discussed this in regards to your case, which we're going to discuss in the next part.
Yeah.
Which is in Black's Law Dictionary, one of the elements that prosecution would have to one of the elements the prosecution has to show is willfulness. And I'm going to paraphrase it next time. I'll have the actual Black's Law Dictionary in front of me. But basically, willfulness is when someone neglects a known moral duty or law. So by you filing all this paperwork over this period of years, what you've done is you've taken away prosecution's major task, which is to prove willfulness, because you have none. All of this documentation shows willfulness cannot be an element in prosecution against you or Tiffany, and therefore there is no controversy in an American court of law.
Correct.
So if there is no willfulness, and then somehow or another an authority has a controversy with you guys in an American court of law, then you know what I mean? It just turns everything on its head. What kind of a court are we operating under? You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
but this is great. I'm having a great time. I don't know about you guys, because this is an epic story, and it's like I know we've been running for 3 hours, so we're all running out of gas, and this is the part I don't want us to. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to reschedule if that's okay.
That's okay.
Mhm.
We can just continue to expand, and we have lots of beautiful work ahead of us, and it's going to take all of us to achieve and see our works come to fruition.
All right, and Adam, before we go, is there what links and what websites and everything can people go to help you guys out? And obviously, we'll have all
Well,
the linky poos and boxes and places. But go
yeah.
ahead and just you guys plug all your stuff.
Yeah. So we have right now, if you want to get to understand a little bit about myself, you can go to DeArmon.com. That's my personal website. We also have a church website, which is www.icsaw.com. That's ICSAW. We also have www.eaglequetzalcondor.com. And that's some of our works and efforts throughout the Americas. And some of the stuff right now, because of the case running, isn't up. It's just there's reasons for that. Because of basically the church has been, we're on halt right now at the moment. But and there's some the GoFundMe is out. I did send you the link for the GoFundMe, and we're still raising awareness, resources, time, and energy, along with you all, Canacensus, and looking to build a international team here. So those are a few brief information, and then our email. I have an email, adam.dearmon@gmail.com, and or via the phone or through these systems here, we can communicate. But that's about it for now. And we really appreciate all the support and efforts, because we're on the forefront, like, to be the voice of the medicine and to help protect. This isn't about me. This is about all of us. This is about all of us. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Power to the medicine. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's like a natural revolution. Tiffany, is there anything you want to go ahead and plug and take us out with before the next one?
Yeah, well, we do have a Facebook page, Medicine Nation Rising. So we would love to have you join us on our Facebook page, and that way we have updates and things, and we can stay connected that way too. So Adam pretty much, I think, said it all. And yeah, we just thank you all for your support and in your continued support. It's really needed. Like, we can't do this alone. There's no way, absolutely no way we could do this alone. So I'm so grateful that we're here together and that we're able to speak about this and share our voice, because we've been wanting to share our story. So I'm so grateful. So thank you so much. And yeah, just so grateful for you guys. Really.
Oh, see,
Thank you.
there's something about unity and diversity, and it sucks that we have to leave it at the most thrilling part of a cliffhanger. But you know me, man, I'm a bit theatrical. So this has been the superest show ever, episode 1971. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to this part of the interview with Adam DeArmon and Tiffany Michelle. Please stay tuned for the second part of this interview, where we go even deeper into the importance of plant-based medicine and Native American belief structures in our country. If you could, please assist our guests, Adam DeArmon and Tiffany Michelle, by clicking on any of the links that you see in any of the boxes wherever you are listening to this, whether or not it's on YouTube or zenonthecar.com or the streaming service of your choice. We really appreciate it and look forward to bringing you the next installment. Stay well.